Mona is a 5-star Hydro Catalyst user who is primarily used for her Elemental Burst, which provides utility and team buffs. Besides that, she can dish out a massive amount of damage with a correct rotation. Her Elemental skill can taunt enemies around it, keeping them gathered, as well as applying consistent Hydro. However, Mona does have some drawbacks. Her unique sprint can be hard to control and her burst can be difficult to vaporize. In addition, her burst's damage buff doesn't last very long outside of freeze teams and can be tough to use effectively. Mona's normal attack is Ripple of Faith. Her normal attack performs 4 instances of Hydro damage. Her charged attack consumes some stamina and deals Hydro damage in a small AoE. Tapping Mona's elemental skill, Mirror Reflection of Doom, will summon a phantom at the location of an enemy. The phantom will taunt enemies nearby and deal 4 instances of AoE Hydro damage around itself. When its duration ends, the phantom explodes and deals a larger instance of AoE Hydro damage. Holding Mona's elemental skill will allow Mona to quickly move backwards and summon the phantom at her previous location. This can be used to evade enemies. Mona's Elemental Burst, Stellaris Phantasm, applies an illusory bubble on enemies all around her, immobilizing smaller enemies. This illusory bubble applies Omen, which increases damage received by enemies affected by it. Omen will persist on an enemy after the illusory bubble pops for up to 5 seconds. The illusory bubble pops when an enemy that isn't frozen receives knockback, and will deal a massive amount of Hydro damage to the enemy, especially if it's vaporized. Mona also has an alternate sprint, Illusory Torrent, which allows her to move around at a slightly faster speed compared to normal sprint, as well as the ability to move across the surface of water at high speeds. However, it keeps the player locked for a short time upon resurfacing. Mona can be played as a burst DPS by focusing on vaporizing her burst to output an extremely high amount of damage. The general rotation is as follows. First, apply Pyro onto an enemy. Then, cast Mona's Elemental Burst. After that, wait for about 3 seconds before reapplying Pyro onto the enemy. The illusory bubble will then pop and its damage will be vaporized. In this playstyle, Mona's Elemental Burst should be prioritized. Her elemental skill and normal attacks don't have to be leveled. Her best weapon for this playstyle is the Widsith for its critical damage substat and powerful passive. Her best free-to-play weapon is the Mapamare due to its high base attack and elemental mastery substat. The best artifact set for Mona is the 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate for its energy recharge from the 2-piece effect and the elemental burst damage bonus from the 4-piece effect. The main stats to be prioritized are attack or elemental mastery on the sands, depending on what you need, Hydro damage on the goblet, and crit on the circlet. As for substats, crit, elemental mastery, attack percent, and energy recharge are all beneficial. Players should generally aim for 160% to 180% energy recharge in this playstyle. Mona also works well as a support in freeze teams that use Ganyu or Ayaka as a main DPS. In this playstyle, Mona focuses on maximizing Omen uptime to buff the other characters within the party, so Mona's damage isn't as significant. Attacking a frozen enemy affected by an illusory bubble will not pop her elemental burst, extending the Omen's duration by up to an extra 8 seconds. In this playstyle, Mona's elemental burst should be prioritized. Her elemental skill and normal attacks don't have to be leveled. Since maximizing Omen's uptime is your goal in this comp, a well-refined Favonius Codex solves a majority of Mona's energy issues with its energy recharge substat and passive. Prototype Amber is a strong free-to-play option, as it regenerates energy and provides some healing as well. The Thrilling Tales of Dragonslayer's Catalyst is also a good choice for its passive that increases the attack of a teammate, provided that you have enough energy recharge to maintain burst uptime. Since Mona's personal damage isn't as important in this playstyle, the 4-piece Noblesse Oblige or 4-piece Tenacity of the Millelith sets are generally recommended for more team buffing ability. 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate is also a very popular choice to increase Mona's personal damage and energy recharge to maintain burst uptime. The recommended main stats to aim for are energy recharge on the sands and crit on the circlet. You should run an attack percent goblet if you are using the Emblem of Severed Fate set, otherwise use a Hydro damage cup. As for substats, aim for energy recharge above all, then attack percent and crit. In this comp, you should aim for around 240 to 280% energy recharge to help ensure that your Mona's burst is always up off cooldown. An example team that can utilize Mona as a burst DPS is Mona, Bennett, and Anemo support at a flexible slot. Sucrose and Kazuha are the best choices for the Anemo slot, as they both provide buffs to Mona. The last slot is flexible. Xiangling is a good choice as she provides sustained damage as well as pyro resonance to the team. Mona also works well in the Morgana team, where Ganyu functions as the main DPS, Diona provides healing and shielding, Venti provides crowd control and buffs, and Mona provides damage buffs, as well as Hydro Aura for freeze. Overall, Mona is a very useful unit that can both deal high damage and can buff teams significantly. She also provides some utility through her taunt. Thanks for watching this quick guide. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like. If you would like to see more quick guides and other informative content in the future, subscribe to the channel.